Nick, that surgery you underwent really worked. You look just your facial structure is very different.
I mean, I would say I just look absolutely stunning. I don't know about you, but it's fantastic.
And have you been working on your accent too? Because I'm hearing something that's not Bostonian, it's not quite New York, it's not Baltimorean. Is that I don't know.
I feel like the face only gives part of it, but when you actually have to have a conversation with somebody, you have to add a little bit. I chose Southern.
In the wheel of impressions.
In the wheel of impressions, I sat there. I'm like, make my face whatever you want, and then I spun a wheel. I'm like, Southern.
Okay.
Southern where doesn't matter, but this is what I decided to go with.
Where doesn't matter.
Okay. It's
just
below
has
something.
To be Southern.
It has to be Southern.
Fair enough. Well,
Get out of my seat.
welcome to Point of View. So, as you can tell from that wonderful introduction, we have a guest host with us today. Nick is still with us, and you'll find out in a moment why we have the guest host, and Nick's role is going to be a little bit different in this episode. But everybody, welcome back Ryan DeVillier, aka the Kiwi from Nick. What number episode?
Episode 4. Titled, Just Put Something in Front of Your Face.
Episode 4? You were 4?
I was 4.
Wow. I know, we need to insert an applause or something. It's like very...
This is episode 31, so we've really come a long way.
I've really lost track, so
Holy
I mean...
cow.
I haven't.
I didn't realize it was
It's
that
one of my
many.
many useless talents.
But Ryan, thank you. Welcome. You are our first guest host of Point of View. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I mean, I wouldn't imagine another place I'd want to be.
That face
I can't tell if
different.
that's sarcastic or not, but I guess we'll leave it up to
Yeah,
a
that was an
mystery.
interesting. Yeah, that was an interesting expression he had on his face as he said that. But
Look, I've been working night shift for the better part of 3 weeks now, so my facial expressions aren't on point, which is why I'm glad to be doing a podcast, not a video interview. You know.
yeah. All right. Anyways, do you want?
Nick, where are you? Where? This is not your normal recording studio, right?
No, it is not. I am at.
Oh, I should ask. Are you even comfortable disclosing your location, or should?
Oh, as you know, yes. I am. I'm at the house of one of our guests who I will introduce momentarily. But before I do that, how are you? And I guess Ryan, how are you too? Because you are a host.
I'll go first because he asked me first.
Fair enough.
I am exhausted. I feel like I come into every podcast saying that, so that answer is becoming tired. But I just came back from Texas. I was there for business, and it was very nice. The weather was very nice. It was 80 degrees, and as we're recording this, it's a Sunday night going into Monday. It's supposed to get into the teens. In Massachusetts, so I'm not looking forward to that. But the weather was very nice. I had my first conference, which was exciting and stress-inducing and anxiety-provoking and all of the things. But I'm happy it was over. I'm happy I did it. I'm happy it's over. I'm proud of my performance, and now I'm entering this space as someone who took an hour-and-a-half power nap and had a nice dinner and maybe had a beer before recorded. So. Well, I think it'll be fun. How are you, Nick?
I'm good. I guess skipping over Ryan.
I know. I realized as I said that.
I'm so good. No, I'm okay. I just had a lovely dinner with my two friends, who, like I said, I'm going to introduce momentarily. I went to a dinner for old people the other night for work. My work.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I went. I represented the work or my the company that I work for. I went there. I ate with some old people. I had surf and turf. I left the surf, ate the turf because I don't like fish.
You don't like fish? No, I don't like live fish.
And then I left my wallet. Yeah, and then I left my wallet at the venue. Got to the gas station, realized as I was on empty that I didn't have my wallet. Went into the gas station and almost said, "Sir, what do I need to do to get you to pay for my gas so I can go back to the venue, get my wallet, and then come back?" Yeah.
Wait, so you asked someone to pay for your gas?
No, he took Apple Pay. That was the next option.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I paid for nothing.
With these gas prices, I might try that. If people are openly and willing to pay for your gas, maybe I should try that.
Yes. But anyways,
Ryan, how are you?
I am doing good. So I happened to surprise trip with Justin up here.
You visited our friend Mary, right?
I visited our friend Mary, and that was right after I finished working the night shift on a Tuesday. Then I caught a flight on a Friday to come up here to Boston. And then tomorrow I'll be leaving to go do some work in Seattle. So, like Justin, I'm exhausted. And that exhaustion seems to continue for the next maybe 3 weeks. So...
We're living. It's a great time to be a young adult.
It's fun.
It's not.
Nick, what are you grateful for?
Today I am grateful for my friends, obviously all of you, everyone that's around me right now, and my 6 years at the restaurant that I worked at, or that I currently work at, that is closing its doors, which is why we're having this episode today. But what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for the opportunity to travel. Because I don't know. I like traveling, and with the pandemic, I haven't been able to do that much. So whether it be business or leisure, I'm glad that I'm able to travel.
What
about you, Ryan?
I am grateful for, like Nick, for friends. That has been a big thing in my life, that I actually had the opportunity to come visit everybody before I flew to Seattle. Grateful for them, and just grateful for just family.
I love that.
Good.
Okay, this episode has been a long time coming. We've been talking about it since the start of this show back in 2021. I always wanted to do an episode about what your restaurant server is thinking. I thought, what better way to do it than to have two of my closest friends that I work with on the show to discuss it with me. So that is why we have, as you explained before, a guest host who is going to kind of, who's going to host the show with you, and you guys can pick our brains, just like we pick your food before it goes out onto your plate. And if you think I'm joking...
It's going to be very enlightening.
If you think I'm joking, I quite literally took a French fry off someone's plate before it went out last night. Without further ado, this is my friend Claire and my friend Bridgette, who I've worked with Claire for 3 years, Bridgette 1 year. She's worked at the company for 10 years, right?
Yep, going on 11.
Going on 11, but when her location closed, she came over to our location. Our location is now closing, and they're both going to leave me, and I'm going to stay at, as you know, the location that I'm at, different restaurant. They're going to go to another location, and we're all going to be friends and celebrate what we've had for the past year. So, welcome, both of you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the podcast. I know it's been a long time coming, as Nick said. So I'm glad that we can do this episode, and especially with the two of you. Nick has shared so much about you. So it's nice to finally have you on the show.
Yes,
Yay.
Happy to be here. Absolutely.
So pumped.
We have the stories.
Yes.
Oh, I'm excited to hear the stories. But I think before we get into those, the first question, if you're listening, I know Claire, you listen. Bridgette, I'm only going to assume that you listen. Just
she follows our Instagram, which I was very impressed by.
I am a listener. That's how I know your allergy, Justin.
Okay.
Also with
as a woman with allergies.
Yes.
So I think you know what the first question I'm going to ask, and Claire, maybe we'll start with you, and then Bridgette can answer. If you were a fruit, what fruit would you be, and why?
I think I would be a peach, because I like to stare at everyone's butt.
I'm
That's
dead.
a really good answer.
We've never had a peach. Have we had a peach? We haven't.
I don't think we've had a peach. No.
We have our first peach.
Woo!
And it works well because there's a peach emoji. So
Right?
we're good.
Everything.
I'm very jealous of
I love
that
that.
answer. I like that
Oh,
answer.
I know. We talk about that all the time, how we stare at everyone's butts.
I love
Yeah, that's a we all have really
Is
cute
that what our
butts.
waiter or waitress is thinking?
We
Is that,
all
have
have
we
really
reached that
cute
part of the
butts.
interview yet?
Yeah. Us as a group of employees, we all have really differently shaped, adorable butt cheeks.
They're slamming
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay. Bridgette, what fruit would you be?
When I was thinking about this question, I was like, I think I'm gonna pick a tomato. I love tomatoes. I love Italian food. I also like get very red when I'm embarrassed or laughing or when I'm mad at a customer or like, so yeah, a tomato.
Well,
I'm a tomato.
I love that you picked. I've always wanted someone to pick a tomato, and I'm also very excited because that means that you really cook a meatball.
I really do. I can really whip up a pasta dish. I actually made one the other day. I made like a shrimp a la vodka.
I saw that on
It
your
was-
Snapchat.
it was
looked
really yummy.
delish.
It was very cheesy and yummy. It was
We
delicious.
love a cheese.
Cajun thing.
First of all, okay.
I did put Cajun
Speaking-
seasoning on the shrimp when I seared it, and it
That's
was
what I'm talking about. There you go. I'm just thinking like shrimp a la vodka sounds like a shrimp boil with vodka. Like those are what you do. You know,
Is that like a southern
I
thing?
suppose you could interpret it like that.
eating boiled shrimp while drinking. Yes, your drink
Yeah.
of choice is up to you. Whether you choose vodka or not, I won't stop you.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm a tomato.
I love both of those answers, and they're both unique answers. We have not had that
We
yet.
have not had those.
No.
So we got to get a tally again for this selection of episodes because we did that for the mega mix last
I'm
year.
all over it.
There's also so many different kinds of tomatoes
Yes.
and uses for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do
It
you
can
have
be-
one in particular in mind that you would be when you think of that, or you're just gonna say tomato
a
generally?
cherry tomato.
Cherry tomato.
gonna
I
say
would be a
cherry
cherry tomato because you can make sauce out of cherry tomatoes. You can put them in a salad. You can just eat them with like a dip or like hummus or ranch.
I see how
or
it is.
as is.
Or as is. They're cute. They're good right off the vine.
You're
Stealing
friends
my
with
thunder?
Nick,
I'm-
and you're friends with
how
Nick,
it
and he's
is.
a cherry.
I'm
so I was
kidding, I'm
gonna
kidding,
say-
I'm kidding. I only like maraschino cherries. The more artificial, the better.
Absolutely.
opinion.
Yeah.
Um,
You really do be stealing those out of my fruit tray with your bare fingers all the time.
I do.
Absolutely.
I do that.
the more we talk, the less we have jobs.
Yes. We should probably just say before we move on that Bridgette usually bartends
Yeah.
and Claire and I are usually servers. And Claire
Yeah.
and I have also been hosts. Have you hosted?
Yeah, I hosted when I was in high
Yeah.
school.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
10 years ago.
It's been a long time since I've been behind the old
grandmother.
behind the old host desk.
Yeah.
Back
Good
to my
old-
roots. All right, let's
So
just let's
I think I just want to get my most anticipated question right off the bat, and why don't we just go the order that you're sitting? So Bridgette, if you can start, and then
Okay.
we'll go to Nick, and then Claire can go. But I want to hear horror stories. Just I want to hear like what is like if you have a story working in a restaurant, because I know that a lot of the times experiences are great, they're wonderful, they're a lot of great customers, but then there are other times, I'm sure, and again, I'm coming from a place where I've never worked in a restaurant or anything, and Ryan, you've worked as a barista before,
I was a
right?
barista when I was in summer before freshman year in college. I was a barista, which I love doing.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like a bartender, except
it's a little
everybody's
bit
sober.
different, but
Yeah.
kind of similar. So
I can relate to that because I worked at a breakfast place before I worked with these guys at the pub. And dealing with customers in a service setting before they've had their caffeine and breakfast and drinks.
I never thought about that. Yeah.
It's a recipe for a horror story
Yes.
sometimes. So many.
you have one
horror
from 2 nights
stories.
ago.
Do I? Wait,
Yeah.
What happened 2 nights ago?
It wasn't to you. It was
Oh, what?
it involved pasta.
Oh my gosh, someone flicked freaking food at my sister because they didn't like their meal.
No way.
My sister brought this grown ass man his chicken piccata and he didn't like it, so he like flicked it up and it splashed her in the face. And yeah, he was just like a complete child about the whole situation. And my sister Kat, who also is a server at the restaurant that we work at, she very calmly looked at him like a queen and said, "You really don't have to act like that. I can just get you something else." But yeah, like I said, I've had tons of horror stories over my 11, 12 years working in restaurants. I have some pretty triggering ones, so I'll just keep those off the books. But
That will stay for the trauma episode.
yeah, I'll come back.
You can
for
come back.
the trauma episode.
I feel like we're
Yeah.
gonna have a lot of our guests come return for the trauma.
Yeah, I'll be a return guest for that. But one that I think is probably very telling for the restaurant industry and how intense customers can sometimes be. I was about 15 years old working as like a takeout counter girl at a local breakfast spot in my town, a very busy spot, like 15 tables, line out the door the whole morning type of beat. And I was ringing out this older gentleman for his takeout order, and he seemed to think that because of my age and my position or whatever he thought, that I was incompetent and I was telling him the wrong prices, even though they're just clearly listed on the menu. So he was irate that I was incorrect about what I was charging him for his food, and no matter how many times I explained to him like that I don't make the prices and I'm not really sure why you're mad about French toast being $5. He got so angry with me that he like hurled himself over the breakfast counter and got like 2 inches away from my face and
What
was
the heck?
it's like spitting on me essentially from how intensely he was screaming about how much of a stupid kid I was and how I don't know what I'm doing and blah blah blah. And that was when I was first in the restaurant industry. Nowadays I'd be like, get the fuck out of my restaurant.
Get
and I'll
lost,
come
yeah.
back. But I didn't have that thick skin yet, so I'm this 15-year-old brand new restaurant employee, and I just started sobbing on the spot, sobbing as hard as I could. And my manager had to like swoop in, and I'll never forget it. She like put her hand, like swooped it over onto the side of my face and kind of like wiped my face and was like, calm down, I'll handle it. And she was like, go in the back. And yeah, I cried so hard because I was like, why did I just get treated like that for literally no reason? But yeah, it was hard. It was a hard thing to have to go through as a young teen, just trying to make a couple bucks so that I could buy a car or whatever when I saved up enough money. I was making like $7 an hour at the time with like tip money. It was tough, and he made a fool of himself in front of everybody. The whole restaurant was looking at him. One of our regulars walked in right after the situation had happened and kind of saw how red and puffy my eyes were, and I told him the situation, and he kind of like jokingly said, "It's all your fault, Bridgette. It's all your fault." You know, like you did that to him. Why did you do that to that poor old man? Like kind of in a sarcastic, joking manner. And he kept that joke on running for like years after that. Whenever he came in to get his coffee, he would always be like, "Bridgette, your fault. It's all your fault." So yeah, that's my horror story. And after that happened, I could literally handle any customer.
Yeah, that was a way to throw you into the deep end of restaurant work.
No flotation device at all. Just chucked me in the water. Yeah, so.
I have a quick one just because I've given on this show my horror story, which
Yeah.
you have all heard about, the time that I went up to the table and they asked Shauna to sit down with them. And they're like, "Where have you been? You've been gone for a half hour." And it had quite literally been 5 minutes. But the story I'm going to tell is actually kind of a funny one. Claire and I were standing at the hostess, as we do. I
was a host at the time, though.
Yes. And we were standing there with our customer, or with our friend and server, Jamie. And this, like, guy comes out and he's leaving. And he hugs her and kisses her, and she hugs him, and he's like, "Oh, like, have a great night, blah blah blah." And then he goes,
Christmas time.
yeah,
too.
it was Christmas time. He was like, "Merry Christmas, see you soon." So he hugs her and like kisses her on the cheek, and then then he moves on to Claire because we're friends, and he was like it was like, "Have a good Christmas," whatever. Hugs her, and then like hugs me, and we're like, "Wow, he's like so nice." Like thinking we were like, "Your grandfather's really nice," and.
To Jamie. We
Yeah.
thought it was Jamie's grandfather.
Yeah, he leaves, and she goes, "I don't know who that man was." So we had all just been hugged, and she got a kiss from this random man, and she's very funny, where she just it didn't even faze her. She is one of the funniest people in the entire restaurant.
She so nonchalantly was just like, I have no idea who that man was.
And then kept walking, like just walked around the corner like nothing had happened.
Me and Nick were like, what? Like, who was this man?
So wild. Oh my goodness. What the heck?
Yeah. Well, that's
Happy holidays.
Yeah.
I took a video of us right after that. So like every year, like around Christmas time, like I'll get a Snapchat memory of that video, and it's like this random man just hugged and kissed all three of us.
We should post that like on the story or something. On the podcast story. But what is your horror story? You said you had a good
Okay.
one.
So when we first like reopened from the pandemic, like we were very much like takeout only. Like I don't know if any of you like went out to like a restaurant to get takeout, but most of them had like that like shitty plastic table in front of the door that was like, you need to stop here.
That blocked you from going in.
Yeah, it was like you
yeah.
on this point. And so this man ordered a Cobb salad with buffalo chicken. He really made it buffalo style.
He made it buffalo style.
And
we'll get to that later.
Yes. And so he asked for extra chicken. So I was just like a host, and like my job was already so much harder because we came back from the pandemic, so there were so many rules and like so many just like I was just basically relearning how to do my job. And so I give this man his food, and I'm like, yeah, have a good night. And we had like so many people because like when the pandemic happened and then like it was takeout only, everyone was like, I want to support the restaurants. But it was like everyone wanted to support the restaurants. Like
right.
Everyone in the world wanted to.
Right.
With 2 cooks in the kitchen
Yeah.
and 1 person working out front.
Literally, it was like 4 of us who came back total. And so I'm like getting my ass handed to me, and I'm dealing with all these people trying to cash them out from like 8 feet away from them. And then I'm like, this man walks back in, and I'm like, oh, hi, like, or like, did you forget something? Like, blah, blah. And he was like, what is this? And like shoves tinfoil in my face, and it has like 4 pieces of chicken in it. And I was like, well, it looks like chicken. And he's like, I asked for double chicken. Does this look like double chicken to you? And I was like, well, if you ordered it as double chicken, then I'm gonna say yes. And he was like, are you fucking kidding? Like starts screaming at me, like is not okay with the amount of chicken that he received. Like very offended that he did not receive.
Personally offended.
Yes, so offended he did not have enough chicken to his standard of double chicken.
I have a question.
What?
Did it look like double chicken to you?
I know. I mean, honestly, like it didn't look like that much chicken to me, but I was just like a 16-year-old, or like, no, how old was I? Like 17. And I was just like, yeah, that looks right to me. I don't know.
You should have directed him. You should have directed him to the next, like, the closest McDonald's. It's like, well, I hear the 4-piece chicken McNuggets are pretty good. You can just add a little more there.
I know, but I just, like, walked away, and I was just, like, I wasn't even upset. Like, I was just pissed. Like, I was, like, there is so much going on, and this man is screaming at me over chicken. I was, like, we're in the middle of a pandemic. I was like, good thing we have this plastic table to keep me safe. Like,
we don't have masks. We don't have tests yet. We don't know what we have vaccines. We don't know if the world's ever going to go back to normal. But by all means, get worked up over your chicken.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I'm
People
so
act like
sorry.
it's the end of the world.
Yes.
That
they
their
really
burger
do.
is the wrong temperature.
And like even
like-
after the pandemic and stuff, like I feel like people, like when the mask mandate was like lifted, everyone was just like, I can just complain about whatever I want. Like I feel like customers, like, not that like all of them are awful, like I'm saying like every customer walks in is terrible.
We're telling
like,
the horror stories right now.
We're telling a horror
yeah.
story.
But it's just like it really just like got worse. Like,
the entitlement definitely got worse, for sure. For sure.
like they're like, I was locked away in my home and now my pizza is burned on the bottom. And it's like, oh my gosh, how will you ever go on?
You forgot my extra dressing. How am I gonna sleep tonight?
I never got my Diet Pepsi. I'm like, okay.
But are you alive?
sorry.
You also that is with your eyes closed like you do every night. Like it's not. It's like I don't know. Unless you're some freak that's just like sleeps with their eyes like wide open. Which maybe the ranch dressing person is that type of person.
That's gonna be me after corporate hears this interview.
As like people, our generation, we get like the complete wrong order, and we're like, thank you. Yeah.
Literally me.
You order a pizza, they hand you a burger, you're like, yummy, thanks.
This is just what I wanted.
How kind.
That's a very interesting point because like I'm the type of personality where like I'll speak up if something's wrong, but never at a restaurant. Like if my order is blatantly wrong, like I ordered a burger and you give me pizza, okay, obviously I'm gonna say something. But like if I'm never someone to be like, oh, I ordered it medium, I don't know, medium, and it's a little medium rare. Like I've never sent a dish back because I'm one of those people that's just like, I'm uncomfortable, but I'm not going to make it more uncomfortable. So I'm just going to settle.
And you always get the good old like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be a pain, but
I don't want to be a pain, but I'm about to be a pain.
You want to tell me that everything is wrong with your food right now, and you're gonna just be like, just dress it up with, I don't want to be a pain.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, a lot of dads love making those types of jokes at
Yep,
restaurants.
yep.
Like, kind of like the how was it? It was horrible. Like that type of
Well,
thing.
also,
Can I get you anything else? $1 million.
I was just gonna say that, Bridgette.
Never heard that before.
That's a thing.
Oh, every single shift. I don't think I've ever worked a shift where it wasn't said to me
No, same.
by a middle-aged white man.
That happened to me over the phone. Like I was taking a guy's order for takeout and I was like, can I get you anything else tonight? And he was like, $1 million. And I was like, honestly, I wish I had that too. That's why I'm here.
I just started being like, I've never heard that before. That's a good one.
No, like the server laughing. You're like, ah ha ha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've perfected that one.
Yeah.
Me too.
I
The
everything
slow back up.
everything you say to me at my table, you could be insulting me. It's hilarious.
My next question is, what do you love most about your job?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh.
Thank you.
Can I say my coworkers?
Or does it have to
Yes.
be about
No, you can say
You
your
can say
coworker.
your coworkers.
It's whatever you love about your job. It doesn't matter, you know.
Yeah, well, my coworkers are definitely like my favorite part of my job. It's like definitely the whole reason I walk into a shift. I'm like greeted with like so much love. Like my job is definitely like a very big like safe place for me. Like I even go in there just like as a customer to hang out with my coworkers because they're like my little family. Because like it's like the same 6 people who work every single shift, and like these two are like my best friends, and I met them through work.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I have to second that. Just I mean, I think it speaks volumes that I stayed there. I have a full-time job now, and I like work that is my Saturday night. Like Justin, you've asked me to hang out before. Like multiple friends have asked me to hang out and be like, I'm working, and people are like, you don't have to work so much, and I'm like, no, I know, but like, it's really good pocket money, but also just like it really is
That's
not
our
work
quality
for me.
time.
It is, and I really don't see it as work. Like I never. That's not true. I mean, it still is work. So I'll be like, oh, like I have to go to work tonight, but especially now that like I only do it once a week, like it is genuinely fun for me. I think it's a social event. It's really not like, I don't think, I mean, it's stressful when it gets busy.
It gets stressful.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's a time when we can all be together in like a relatable setting and be there for each other. And we always catch up about our lives.
Yeah,
when
and
we
I
work.
just feel like we all like genuinely care about each other and
Yeah.
like our mental states and everything, because like it can be so tough at work, and like having
can.
people who like understand that like
Yeah.
it's just like easy. Like these are like the same people we see all the time. It's like those memes. It's like no one sees you at your worst more than your coworkers, and it's like it's so true.
Yeah,
Like
especially in the service industry for sure, because there's been times where we're literally like sobbing and we have to like, all right, let's go greet our table, you know, suck it up, suck it in, let's go greet our table. But I think I would have to third that, not to be like cliche, but I will add a little detail to your statements. I have worked at for going on 11 years now at a different location than these two. And when my my original pub closed, I had this like broken heart feeling. It almost felt like I was like going through a breakup almost, because my family, like my work family, was being like ripped apart essentially. And I never thought I would feel that sense of like acceptance and family again in a work setting. But I literally walked into my first shift at the pub in Pembroke with these guys, and I saw Claire's face, and it just like lit up the room, and we've been friends ever since that moment. And I really didn't think I would fall in love with all of these people so quickly, because I've only worked with these humans for a year, but I am glad that I got to experience that much love and friendship in that short period of time. I'm just glad it happened in general. So, yeah.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Speaking of the
Yeah.
general,
Speaking.
my general manager.
Yeah.
This is the wrong hand, but that was so well put. That was.
it was.
Yeah.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
Not to be like so emotional, but
No, that
I
was
could cry
beautiful.
right now.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
That's awesome. I mean, I think that's great that you like found, you know, it might not be the job itself, but you have people at your job that make the job worth it. Because I think that is as important as enjoying the work that you do. Like, even if you enjoy your coworkers and that's it, and you hate your job, like you love something about it. And I think that's like really special, and like really like that doesn't happen a lot in.
We've talked
world.
about that even at dinner tonight.
We talked about that at dinner. I don't, you know, jobs are rough, but like the fact that you have people there that make it better and that you're excited to see every day, and like Nick, for you to go on a Saturday and just see it more as a social event rather than like an actual job, that's really special and really cool.
Yeah.
Like,
it's-
we will all walk around all week long and be like, I can't wait for Nick to be here on
That
Saturday.
makes me feel really good because I don't know. That just makes me feel really good. That's all I'll say there. That's all I can say.
I say that all the time too, though,
Yeah.
because like even some stuff that we just like bring up sometimes, like, cause like me and Nick like always joke around, like so, like it gets way out of hand at work, but
An
like
extensive
yeah,
amount.
but like sometimes like when I'm joking around and like no one's getting it, I'm like, I wish Nick was here.
Yeah.
I'm like I know he'd get it. Like
Can I just bring up something real quick because this is a perfect segue into it?
yeah.
So all three of us really love to troll like while we're there, but one of my favorite things to do to Claire to kind of get her to like break character, I guess, when she's at the host desk. And I don't think Justin knows this because we told Tom when we were at my birthday dinner.
Yes.
But I will go up to her when she's like talking to a customer, and I'll just be like, "Oh, Claire, Diane's looking for you out back," knowing very well that there is no Diane at the restaurant. Like, I'll just make up a server, or I'll be like, or as she's going to take someone to a table, I'll be like, "Oh, is that Roger's table? Like, is that gonna be in Roger's section?" And she'll be like, "Yeah, definitely." like, or
And then
she'll-
Jamie walks up and they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
not Roger.
And you do a good job of it too, because you'll make up like a story. Like, did you hear? Like,
Yeah.
you tell
So
it.
one night, there were like a bunch of people like waiting to be sat and like also waiting for takeout, and Nick came up, and usually like we like whisper stuff, but I like was talking kind of loud like on purpose, and I was like, did you hear about like Denise and Sasha? Like they had a big fight out back. He like pushed her into the dumpster, and like everyone starts like listening. Yeah, and like, but it was like it's hard to keep it together though because it's so funny and like ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
it's even more funny when you're at work because there's just like random people around you. Because like, imagine if you were waiting for your table and you just like hear people like saying stuff like that.
Right.
They're like, "Did you hear about?" Like, just drama, just work drama.
There's a meme that's like me and my coworker. It's a SpongeBob meme. It's like me and my coworker being fucking weird, and then there's another fish, and it's like a customer that we haven't noticed yet.
Yeah, that is us. That is us to a T.
Yeah.
We turn around and we're like, oh, I didn't know there was a customer still here.
We all love to talk to each other like we're not even like surrounded by customers. Like the other day, like me and
it's usually at like the beginning of a shift or the end of a shift. Like we are professionals. Like when we're in service, but there's like a beginning.
Felt like that needed to be said somehow.
Yeah. There's a beginning grace period and an ending grace period. Where we're allowed to be semi-unprofessional because
that's just your water cooler moment in the service industry.
What was it?
It's just your water cooler moment in the service industry.
Yes.
I also just want to point out that this is not exclusive to our restaurant because there is a page called Server Memes, and you can find the exact same stories that we're telling on this podcast. Every single one of them is on that Instagram account.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, like, I have met people on like dating apps that I will then see follow that account because I'm like, oh well, they're a server.
It's funny the way that I can relate to that, and again, I haven't worked in a restaurant or anything, but like at Loyola, whenever I knew a tour guide and they were like bringing a tour or whatever, I would always like obnoxiously, whether it be indoors or outdoors, I would be like, say Ryan was the tour guide, I'd be like, happy birthday, Ryan, even though if it wasn't their birthday.
The same
like, oh, thanks, and then they just keep going on with their spiel. Just like mess with them. But so I want to ask, it's been brought up a little bit. You said, oh, we'll get back to they wanted buffalo on there, you know. Oh, and Nick, in the previous episodes, you said, well, we'll get back to, you know, this how we really feel about, you know, my people, the soup of the day people, or how we really feel about, you know, like you know, picking food potentially off of a plate. So I guess
you want the inside scoop.
Yeah, I want, as an outsider, I of course want the inside scoop. So, you know, anyone can talk about this, but what do you mean by those things? Can you elaborate more on those things and talk a little bit about the inside scoop?
Yeah.
Give us the scoop.
So obviously, as a group of people that work together all week long, we have our inside jokes. We have our trolly little sayings that we say to customers and ourselves to kind of make light of the shift and get through it in a positive manner. So like on our menu it says weird, like crazy stuff.
Just like very cringy.
Like dad joke type things that just like shouldn't be written on a menu. Like there was this appetizer sampler that we used to sell.
Oh my god.
On our menu, and it was great. It came with like fries, onion rings, potato skins, a giant pretzel, mozzarella sticks. It was like really a little bit of everything. It was great. But on the menu, it was called a smorgasbord - it's bloody enormous, baby.
But there was no like comma between enormous and babies, so it literally was just like bloody enormous baby. Our big joke was that you just receive a bloody enormous baby.
Like we get that we work at the or whatever, but that's like really pushing it. Like, why did you have to put that on the menu? And then like each menu change, there was just something cringy about it. So this most recent menu change that we had, we added flatbread pizza to the menu, and you could make any pizza on the menu a flatbread. So instead of just writing flatbread on the menu, under every single pizza option, the menu says make it a flatbread with a couple exclamation points underneath it. So every time we
That's
ring,
too many exclamation points for make it a flatbread. I think
Exactly,
one
it's
should
not-
suffice. Even a period. I don't even think that needs to be an exclamation.
So enthusiastic about making it a flatbread that all of us just and we're like, make it a
flatbread.
I
Yeah.
wonder if the chef was as excited as the menu was about making
I can
things
tell you
a
they
flatbread.
weren't.
100% not. And they also are 100% not excited when we troll around the kitchen and say, make it a flatbread at the top of our line.
Or buffalo style.
Or
That's
make it
another
buffalo
one.
make it
style.
buffalo style. That's
If you
on
want
the
buffalo
cob.
chicken instead of regular chicken, you can make that buffalo style.
We'll go, hey, can you just hold on a second and make that buffalo style? Thank you. That would be great.
To each other, not
Yeah.
to
I have to ask because just interject quickly, like when I picture at diners, right? I feel like it's common for like wait staff to be yelling things into the kitchen. It's like
Yeah. Like in code.
make it a flatbread, blah 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 blah. Like you know, like can I get this, whatever. Like, do you guys do that at your restaurant? Like just yell at the chef for no reason,
Like no one can hear us in our kitchen.
like, just to be
like,
obnoxious. I mean, you know, like-
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Or, like I'll be like, make it a flatbread real fucking quick. Like, and then also like all of us were like, we were like, when is someone gonna order a buffalo chicken flatbread? Because we were gonna be like, oh, they made it a flatbread and
And
buffalo.
And they made it buffalo. Yeah.
A double whammy.
Yes.
I just love when people order it that way. Like somebody on the phone, I lost it on the phone one time when they're like, could I get the smorgasbord? It's bloody enormous, baby. Like they read it like
Let's
that. And
read the whole thing.
yeah, the whole thing. And I was like, you absolutely cannot. I mean, I didn't say that, but
Word for word.
Yeah.
Just reading the menu blindly as if they didn't like realize that was just like
I think it's because if you just said, "Can I get the appetizer sampler?" you wouldn't know what they're talking about, right? You only know it by the full title.
Yeah, they just say the whole title just to make sure that we're not stupid enough to mess up.
Right.
Not just we brought it out. It was chicken tenders.
Yeah, it
No.
was chicken
Can you imagine?
Whoops. You didn't say it was bloody enormous baby.
But it wasn't a double order. It wasn't a double order. Just
No, never.
I mean, I like to say that to my tables though when they're like, "Can I get a Cobb salad?" I'm like, "Would you like to make that buffalo style?" But like sometimes I just say it if I want to like laugh. Later.
Yeah.
Like
Because it's funny.
yeah, it is funny.
It's funny.
So we know buffalo. I'm very
flatbread.
curious as a soup of the day person. I want to know that. Inside of
Okay,
that.
but that's why like at Nick's like birthday dinner, I was like, Justin, they have a soup of the day. Like, are
No,
you
you were
gonna?
very excited for me that they had, and then they ran out. But you know that's a side point.
Sad.
But that means it was a good fresh soup of the day.
Good, it's a good
It was.
soup.
Because
So is that-
sometimes,
do my people though? You know, I'm when I say that, I'm just jokingly saying people who always ask what the soup of the
Yeah,
day
yeah.
is. Are we seen? I'll just say Am I seen as? I probably shouldn't group a whole bunch of people as.
Oh, you people like soup of the day?
I-
You're soup of the day people? That's my people.
That's my people. Yeah. Is it seen with
Hey,
a
all you
positive connotation or a negative connotation,
well, so like
or just neutral?
it's obviously like very valid to be like, what is the soup of the day? Because like if it's on the menu, like you're gonna ask, like it's gonna happen. But sometimes like we don't have a soup of the day. Like sometimes like we have specials and there's like a soup. But like when people are like, what's the soup of the day? And it's just like our menu, I'm like, there isn't one. Or sometimes I'm just like, it's clam chowder.
I feel like that's user error because like if they read on your menu that you don't have a soup of the day, why are they asking?
Some people just do that. I've had people like literally just call the restaurant and like ask what the specials are, and I would like read it off to them, and then they'd be like, "Okay, thanks," and then just hang up. Like I think people just like to ask questions, honestly.
They get bored at home. Just call a restaurant.
Yeah.
One of the specials they're having.
They're like, "What are you guys serving tonight?"
As a restaurant goer, I'm curious. I've been into restaurants multiple times where like I want to sit at a particular table, but then I can't. Because it doesn't exist.
That one gets me.
Can you please like explain the etiquette or
That's
the
a
reason
very good
why? Or the
question.
reason why like I can't just sit wherever I want? Because in my head,
I'd love to explain that to you.
Yes.
Claire, will you
So-
take the
Yes, I will, because as a host, I hosted for 3 years, and like when I first started hosting, we were like so understaffed. It was bad. Like I would be like the only host on, and when I would seat people at a table, and then they would just like stand there and look around, and then be like, "I want to sit there." It's just like, so here's the thing about doing that is that we have a rotation of tables, so every waiter / waitress has their own set like section of tables that are theirs. And when we get to like one table in rotation, that's like their table, like it goes in order. So when people are like, I don't want to sit here, that fucks up the rotation, and that makes me so mad because then I have to like go back to them. And it just gets all messed up. But sometimes people are like, can I sit at this table? And it's still in the same section. And I'm like, of course you can. Like, no problem. But if people like go from one end to the restaurant, like to the other, like I get a preference. But like, if like most likely when people see you somewhere, like there's a reason for it.
Gotcha.
There's more to it than just like your comfortability, which of course is important to the restaurant.
Totally
the customer's comfortability is very important, but people are also there to make a living. So if you then change tables, it's sometimes too complicated and there's too much going on and there's too many moving parts in a restaurant for it to just be okay. So now since you changed tables, just because you didn't like sitting by the window or whatever, now that person who was supposed to wait on you is being skipped. They're losing money. And it's just like, it's our order of operations. It's how things are working in the restaurant. And
every restaurant.
For every restaurant.
Yeah, every
that's
restaurant.
a thing in every restaurant.
And like, it's different if like, okay, so say you walk in and it's like 12 p.m. the restaurant just opened for lunch and you and one other table is in the restaurant. Sure, sit wherever the frick you want. But if you walk in on a Friday and there's a bazillion people waiting at the door and the server seats you on the freaking floor, crisscross applesauce with menus in your hands, say freaking thank you and just sit there.
No,
I think you have a restaurant idea right there.
No,
I don't know how I feel past the health inspection, but we can make it work.
Because like my biggest pet peeve too is that we have 3 booths just like in the front, and every single human being wants to sit at one of those booths, and I'm like, they're full. I don't know what you want me to do. You could wait. Like, just like if people are like, can I sit somewhere else? Like, of course I'll seat them somewhere else. And like our tables sometimes at our job like are like wobbly or like whatever, and
kind of an old place.
Yeah. Yes. So
not very well upkept.
Yeah. So
that's on us.
Yeah.
Not us, but that's on the restaurant.
That's
sometimes I don't want to get on my hands and knees and shove coasters under table chairs. So I'm just like, okay, like,
yeah,
you can sit here. I'll like shake tables before I seat people at them. And then I'm like, here you go. I bet they like love to see that. Yeah.
I also just want to say one thing quickly too that we didn't mention about the moving tables. It also, like, if it's busy and then you now have 2 tables because you just got sat and now you have a second table, that actually does take a lot. Like, it sounds like, oh, it's 2 tables, whatever. And like, I to be honest, I get that too, because it's like, okay, just go a little bit faster. But like, if
timing is everything, and you changing your table affects a lot more than you think it does. So if you really need to change your table, it's fine to ask, but if the host or server gives you any sort of pushback with you asking, just accept it, because there's clearly a valid reason why they're seating you where they're seating you.
I was just gonna say too, like the first so now you have 2 tables to go to at the same time, so you go to one, and now
it's
like
called
there is
being
a
double sat.
Yeah, it's called being double.
Sucks.
Yes, but what I was gonna say is like it's the second table is like, I never realized how short the window is between like you being on time to your table and you being late.
Absolutely.
So the second table will always be mad unless they're really nice.
It affects the quality of your service. So if you're asking to change tables, just be prepared to be the snowball effect of perhaps affecting the entire service experience of that server section. The weight of that is on your shoulders now.
I just want to say too, we're talking to the general public, not the hosts of Point of Two. Because honestly, because I will say that Ryan was the one that brought this up, and I think he brought this up as somebody who doesn't do that, because he said he worked, because it was like a Connecticut thing, I think. I don't know. And I've never seen Justin do that either. And there are people, I will say, in my family.
Is that a Connecticut thing?
Yeah, no, blame it on Connecticut. People blame so much on Louisiana. Connecticut needs an L, all right?
Well, I know you're from Louisiana. I thought you said Connecticut. I didn't really know why, but I wasn't going to question it. But I was just going to say.
Okay.
I have been at a restaurant with people in my family who have said, "Can we move?" And I have looked at them and said, "No." When I'm like the customer, and then I'll look at the server and be like, "I got
wanted
you."
to
Or
say
the
that
host.
too. I was like, we are saying this like we are just like educating. Like we're not like, Ryan, don't you fucking dare. I was like, I feel
it's
like
a personal attack.
I know, I feel victimized
this
here.
is definitely not a personal attack. Like
No.
people listening to this are like, wow, they're going in on
No,
him.
I've gone to restaurants with both of them, and they are both more than fine.
What
And
are
I
your
hope
thoughts
I
on,
am
like,
too.
What are your thoughts on like pushing, like if you have a big group of people, like if the whole seating table thing is good? What are your thoughts on like if people push tables together and make a
No.
bigger table? Is that that's not a we can't do that either.
Well,
then
if you ask first, then it's fine. Like if there's a table that is like clearly empty and like the hosts or whatever don't have a plan for it. Like if you're like, hey, can we take this table and make a bigger table? Well, like, sure. And then like I'll help you like make a bigger table.
Yeah.
Like I get wanting like more elbow room. But like sometimes people just take tables.
It's a reservation.
Yeah.
And then
I'll be
there's a
like,
reservation that's supposed to
and
sit there.
yeah.
And then where are they supposed to sit? Crisscross applesauce on the floor?
Yeah. And it like that's the difficult part. But as long as like people are communicating with staff, like if people just walk into a restaurant and think that like it's their fucking house and like they
Yeah.
can sit wherever they want and
Do whatever
they
want.
want, get like, and it's just like it like affects us too, because like we want to give people like the best service, but like we're human beings too. So like when you come in to like our domain and you're rude to us, like we want to match energies. Like obviously we won't, but like it's like so hard to be nice to people who are just like basically are like
Treating you like you're a second class citizen
Yes.
because you're waiting on
You
them.
gotta lean into the match energy thing. If they're being a dick, then you gotta be a dick right back. Just
You
make
can do it like this.
with a smile on your face. Passive aggressive is the way to go.
Yes. Like my sister did with the guy that flicked
Flick
chicken
the
piccata
noodle on
sauce
their face. Yeah,
her,
exactly.
her face. Because literally she checkmated him by making him realize he was being a childish piece of shit.
yeah.
And then he ended up tipping her 30% because he was so embarrassed with his behavior. So sometimes it works out in your favor.
Well, yeah, because like if you react like what I like to say is like don't show those custies like weakness. Like stand your ground like the custies.
The
That's what I call them, the
customers.
customers, the custies. I usually like to say it's me and my coworkers against the custies.
That's all.
But
Yeah.
it's just like you have to be like, okay, like it's everything is fine. We're
Everything's
still alive. Like I'm so sorry that you didn't like your burger. Like give me a minute.
Yeah.
It's just because like people have like stopped me and I'm like fully running around and they'll just like ask something silly or
The
whatever.
most minute complaint. Like there
Yeah.
wasn't enough ice cubes in my drink.
Yeah. Or like
I need another napkin.
Yeah, exactly that. And it's just like and like I make it a point to check on my tables a lot and like when people don't I don't know. You know what I mean?
Don't
Like,
appreciate-
What's the nicest way to like flag down a waiter? Like if I need a waiter at my table, like what's the most polite way to get
Just say,
a
"Excuse
waiter
me."
to come? Okay.
Yeah, just excuse me.
It's just
Usually
polite,
if
Ryan.
your server that
Well, I've seen somebody like the whole hand wave.
Hey,
and he's like
over here.
you know, like
that.
I've gotten whistled and like yeah, like a dog, like I'm a fucking dog. Am I a
Got it.
dog?
So don't do those things. No.
No.
I love how this has become like a rant session, but like I do think that servers will relate to this. And I think
Yeah.
too, like, honestly, follow server memes on Instagram, even if you don't, like, because I'll like plug them real quick. It's really funny and it's all accurate. Like, it's really funny.
Yeah.
I do want to say something like a little philosophical, just to like tie up loose ends.
Yes,
of this
because
little
we are
conversation.
to the end of
Yeah,
the
well, before you do that, let me just say, in the interest of time, feel free to. I just want to open it up to anything that you has yet to be said that you want to say. Bridget, go ahead with your. I'm so ready for your philosophical
Okay.
thought right now.
I think it's just important like if you're a non-restaurant worker, I think it's important to remember that when you walk into an establishment that this experience is a group effort.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the effort of the server, it's the effort of the customer together. So you have to work together as a group of people to make your experience delightful or like pleasant.
And just be kind. Just be kind.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yes.
we're all people. The customer is a person. The people waiting on you, they're people. You know, just be kind. You know, because everyone's going through their own thing, their own journey. They have their own challenges, and just if you're going out to eat, just know you're privileged to go out to eat and be able to go out to eat. So just make it as an enjoyable experience for yourself as much as you can. And you know, this is me speaking as the customer, obviously, but
Yes.
But you're also a very considerate person. You're both very considerate people in general.
Yeah.
So like that doesn't surprise me.
Right.
Yeah. Another thing to add though is that like I know that like we sat here and just like talked about how like it can be so rough in the restaurant industry, but like also we have people who we see like day to day like come in and sit at the bar and we're like friends with like customers that come in and like
we would be worried if they didn't show up one day. Like
Yeah.
we'd be like, where is Dan and is he okay?
like sometimes I could be having the worst day ever. A customer can come in and just be like the nicest person, like
Yep.
so kind, like leaves you such a good tip, but like even like the tip at that point like didn't even matter because they were just like so kind and genuine and like very understanding. Like when people are so understanding and they're so kind, and like that's what makes the experience like so much better because it's just like positivity on top of positivity. It just like makes it so much better.
I genuinely, and this, I think this is a good way to wrap it up. I'm very excited to share this episode with people that, like, far and wide, really, with people that work in the restaurant industry, just to hear their thoughts, and also people that don't, because it's really a cool conversation. But
absolutely. And so I just want to thank Bridget, thank you, Claire, thank you. Like Nick said at the very beginning, this has been a long time coming, so I really appreciate your insights. I learned a lot. I don't.
Oh, I definitely learned a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
I've done some things. I've worked at a crawfish shop, not to show my culture or anything. But like, I've had some type of experience with this before, but like, it's definitely very insightful on like the restaurant industry. So I loved listening and being a part of this.
Thank you guys for having us.
yeah,
We
thank
had
you.
a lot of fun talking to you guys, and maybe we can have a guest appearance on a future episode of
Please.
Point.
Absolutely. We could always do a part 2 because it seems like you guys still have a lot to say. So.
Part 2!
oh, can you throw in it? Can you throw in a
yes.
SpongeBob reference real quick? Can we do like a "Where's the leak, ma'am" or something?
Where is the leak, ma'am? Okay, yeah.
May I take your hat, sir?
May I take it?
May I take your hat, sir?
May I?
And
I also want to thank Ryan, who was
Yes.
our
Yes.
guest
Yes.
host. Thank you very much, Ryan. And you know, do you want to take us home with our outro?
I
Yeah,
will take you home with your outro. My name is Ryan DeVillier, and
And I'm go again. Okay.
so my name is Ryan DeVillier.
I'm Justin Dew.
You can reach us at our email, pointofdewpodcast@gmail.com, or by sending us a voice message on our website, anchor.fm/pointofdew. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Point of Dew Podcast and Twitter at Point of Dew. If you enjoy our show, give us a rating or review in the Apple Podcast Store, or share us with a friend or family member. We'd really appreciate it and are truly grateful for your support. As always, we hope you have a great week. Thank you for listening, and until next time, H.
I just wanted to hear you say H. That was phenomenal.
I just read what I'm told.
So we make